What's up, buttercups? Forgive me, I have my nightly cup of coffee with me. Um, so I'm just gonna tell y'all straight. Some of you are not ready to hear this message, and that's okay. But I think it's important to share. Especially when, this whole podcast is about defining intrinsic worth and the battles that we sometimes have to endure and go through. As I say, sit with it, feel it, let it go. Well, let me tell you something. Up until recently, I thought I had felt all the damn feels. I thought that my healing journey was well beyond its way. I was seeing things from a clear perspective. I was putting myself first, loving myself first. I was changing my mindset, my words. Any negative thoughts I had or words I said, I quickly tried to retract them and replace them with something positive. All of those tricks and tools and resources that we learn when we're trying to heal from something traumatic or tragic that's happened in our lives. And can I just say, honestly, I have been consistently, religiously using all of these tools, and truly they have helped immensely. They have definitely helped me to look forward and to be able to discern things and people and places and things a little better for my benefit, not in a selfish manner, but to protect myself with more knowledge and understanding, as well as to embrace things in a different perspective. But we can go down that rabbit hole another day. The point is, I've done all of those things, and I was feeling pretty damn good about it, if I must say. I was in a great mindset. I was forging ahead. I was making plans. And then I hit a brick wall. I was put in a position where I needed to reach out to my ex to just finalize some business matters we had between us. Now, mind you, there's been no contact for a minute. And the last contact that there was wasn't great, pretty damaging, and the residual effects were as bad, if not worse. And to just, I'm not one for going deep because I don't want to give anybody the ability to be biased or give me their personal opinion because it's not their life. So I just hope they can just take pieces and parts that fit and help and use it accordingly. So, quick little thing. It was a relationship that lasted for many, many years, and it was every emotion at one point in time or another that, in my opinion, a person could feel. It was the greatest love, and it was the greatest tragedy. And everything in between, God knows. So when I was put in the corner to reach out with this communication, I was dreading it. I just felt like I was in a good place, and I didn't want to open a can of worms, and I just wanted to continue on the positive journey. And I had this fear, or knowing, if you will, that I would be forced to revisit places, maybe shadows that I didn't want to. But nonetheless, I didn't have a choice. It was a pretty time-sensitive matter. So, and I'm a responsible person, so you do what you got to do to make the right choices. needless to say, my fear presented itself. What started out as a very sensible conversation between two adults quickly led to daggers, and for me, led to looking at things and understanding things on a level I didn't understand. Now, here to tell you, I am not one to back down. But I bring facts and reality to the situation. I don't grab, little things to add to make someone feel or seem worse than what's really on the table. I really, really work hard not to do that. But even still, my words harbored anger, harbored hurt, disappointment, heartbreak, and resentment. And throughout the conversation, it blew all that shit apart. And it really was hard. It was so damn hard to not let all of that bubble so much to the surface that all of that progress I've made went out the window. I could have chose to continue to handle it as I'd done in the past. Now, mind you, I always try to reason. I truly do. But sometimes when you're not on point with your communication and you're not at the same level, it doesn't matter what either party does. It's just not going to work. And if you're in a healthy relationship, you walk away, you come back, and you try to communicate it in a different way when you're in a more secure to yourself environment that it's not going to explode. And we weren't that. We were not that. We were both so strong-headed, but we had much different ways of communicating. Much. And I'm not here to point fingers, but I'm here to let you know, honestly, truthfully, and transparently, it was very toxic. Very toxic. And the saddest part about it all is that throughout this communication and knowing that I could not let my progress go, I had to still put my inner knowing of who I am and what I deserve and what I demand first. I just had to do it in a different way. I'm not sitting here condoning anything I've been through. God knows I haven't, because let me tell you something, I'll go to hell and back to not prove, because I don't feel like I need to prove myself, so let me retract that, to consistently prove that I'm not that person. I really do always aim with the best of intentions and want a solution, and move forward from it. But I have to own accountability that I also maybe didn't always evaluate the other person and where they were in their feelings. And instead of recognizing the trigger points, I cared too much about myself in that moment, and I certainly probably participated many times in helping to escalate. So neither parties are right in that situation. But what I realized ultimately was, no matter how strong that love was, because I truly believe it, again, every feel you can feel. Completeness and emptiness and fulfillment and disappointment, all of it. I mean, I could give you a whole damn list. We're not gonna do that. And so it hurt different than other relationships. And I'm not here to compare, but I have had other relationships that were toxic, because we tend to attract what we think we're worth. And it will be a repeated cycle until you really truly sit and seek the root of the problem and learn what you deserve. Thus, my repeated cycles, and why I'm here now. But the biggest thing was, when I say that it was a love that was so strong, it's because throughout time and throughout those years and throughout that tumultuous relationship and the highs and the lows, the reality it didn't fail because of love. It didn't fail because of that. It failed because there were too many wounds from both of our past lives that we did not take the time to address, to make ourselves aware of, and to truly make it a mission to learn and grow from it so that we could be better, so that we could break the cycle. We didn't know how to do it. I'll be honest, and I can't speak for the other person because that's not the right thing to do. But I know for myself, I didn't have anybody to ever show me how to do that. This is all self-education through a lot of tragedy and trauma, a lot of hurt, a lot of disappointment, a lot of feeling like I was never enough. And I changed myself repeatedly. Again, I'm not going to speak for the other person because this was a two-party thing, but I'm speaking to express how my knowing that I had to break that cycle and only I could do it, and all the hard work and determination, because it's been a lot. It's so much easier to go back to what you know, right? Because we know, we can trust in it. Even if it's going to be shitty, we know. But the unknown, that's scary, To go from a long-term relationship where your life was built around that and to suddenly be alone when that relationship was also very codependent, it is scary as shit. Right? It's scary. Who are you going to rely on to help? Not even help, but really to dictate, But I'm proof. If you face that fear, if you take that time and you feel that hurt, and that hurt is almost worse than whatever that burn was to force you to learn, because it's all encompassing. Because again, we tend to repeat our cycles. So that's a buildup, right? That relationship forced me, in a sense, to really evaluate what the hell I was doing wrong. And I always thought it was my words or my actions, or I wasn't measuring up, or I wasn't doing this, or I wasn't keeping that person happy, and I wasn't making and I was spreading myself so damn thin. And I lost whoever the hell I was through all them years, because I thought I had to be that person. And the reality was, the answer was, it was quite the opposite. It was really to fight for myself and stop fighting for everyone else. And so our cycles, they don't necessarily start with the last person. Sometimes they're generational. Sometimes we're programmed to believe that that's all there is. And again, I've always said I'm not here to place blame on my parents or his parents, or I'm not. That's not that, right? Because you can't grow if you don't know, right? And if nobody taught them, they can't teach it. But that doesn't change the reality. It doesn't change the fact that there's a good chance these are generational wounds. They're generational cycles that we know no different, so we veer in no different direction. And we just find a way to settle. This is it. That's all there's gonna be. This is what life gives us. That's not true. It's not true. You just have to fight for it. For all those times that you spread yourself thin to show your love for others, maybe flipping it could be just an hour by yourself, weekly. However that goes, however that works for everyone. Take it as it resonates with you. Not every piece and part will fit your scenario. So I encourage you not to make it fit, right? Because our minds do that. Grab on one little piece, and then because we wanna have answers and we wanna figure it out, we wanna feel at peace with it, we just, attach whatever thing that feels similar and feels safer to be the answer. That's why you can't reach out to others. It's good to have support, right? Bounce ideas, but that's not where the real healing is. That's not where the real intrinsic understanding is. You got to go inside yourself. You got to decide, no matter how great that love was. You got to decide that you're worth it. And that in order for you to bring more to the table next time, because you got to own it. It's freaking hard, right? Especially when, like in my circumstance, I really can't point to too many things that were dramatic or traumatic that I did, but obviously the parts I played, they contributed. And you got to own that, right? And I know I say right a lot, guys. Sorry. But you do. Because otherwise you just sit in this victim mentality. And when you sit in a victim mentality, not only do you do the woe is me and I deserve better, and you expect it to come knocking on your door. Okay? I'm just here to tell you. Solitude is good. You should take your time to sit with it and feel it, but you got to balance it, because otherwise it'll eat you alive and it'll take you in a dark, dark place, and it's up to yourself to save yourself from that. Take it as it comes. Feel it as it comes. You're allowed your time. Just don't live there. Because the whole purpose behind this is to live a more fulfilling life. And only you can do that for yourself. You can't lean on others, a relationship, friends, family, to fill your cup. Yes, they should contribute, right? Yes. That's why they're in your circle. That's why they're at your table. They should contribute, but not to the degree that you feel you need that to make you whole. Not to the degree that you can't even think for your damn self. You instantly have to pick up the phone and text somebody or call somebody or meet with somebody. But I was that person. But with those pieces of advice, whether we like it or not, it comes with that other person's traumas. And it comes with pieces and parts that contribute to validate them. And it's not done with ill intention. No, we're all trying to heal by bouncing off each other. There's no ill intent with that. And I think the saddest part about my story is that the reason why we both mutually, and I will speak for that for him, because I know it in my bones. When I speak to it was the greatest love, I can say that because even as toxic as it was, and God knows it was toxic at times, and hurtful and vengeful, and it was all of the things, which I do not condone. Okay? But I realized none of it was done with ill intentions on either party's part. None of it. That's how I know it was a good love. Because when I sit back, and I actually to this point really do now know that I am truly tapped in to healing and forgiveness. And true forgiveness, it almost feels like you're, again, putting yourself on the back burner. It almost feels like that. Like you're turning on yourself because you're forgiving them for all the pain and the hurt and the disappointment and truly shattering heartbreak. But you're not turning on yourself. I've learned this. You're able to heal to such a high level that you can take a step back and you can evaluate the situation as a whole. And I can say to the depths of my soul that no matter how bad things got, it was never for lack of love. It was never done to purposely hurt the other person, even though it hurt like freaking hell. And it certainly was not handled appropriately on so many levels. I can look past all of that bullshit now in this moment. I can look past all of it and say that I know that came from an unhealed person. Someone that had lived a life of not being healed themselves, not embracing the resilience of whatever they had gone through. Again, not here to put somebody's life on the spotlight, even though in a slight form it feels that way in this moment, but I am not here to dig into that and what, that person endured. Good, bad, or indifferent for whatever level of it that I know. I'm just simply using it as a resource to explain that was their coping. That was their innate need to protect themselves. And it shadowed, unfortunately, what truly could have been. Because when we don't heal, our past traumas come with us. That's, again, That's the cycles. And I gotta just say, I am so damn proud of myself. So damn proud. And I am literally an example of what this podcast is about. Unbeknownst to me that it would take it to this level, or that I'd have to revisit old wounds. But the whole point of life is to filter our thoughts and feelings and judgments and opinions of others, whether that be from way back or even in your present. The whole point of life is to find your intrinsic worth. And when you do, literally, the old saying is true. The world is your oyster. When you can truly forgive something that hurt beyond measure, and all of the pieces and parts that it entailed, and you can step back and you can find grace, and you can find empathy and compassion for that person that triggered all of those things to surface, that's freedom. That's peace. That is truly the epitome of self-love. Sometimes, or at least in this case, I believe, as I've said before, all of our cycles in life, our phases in life, our chapters in life, they're all interconnected. And we might not understand it, and we might hate it at times, and we might embrace it at times, but it's all connected. And we learn something, and we grow from something, and we become a better version of ourselves through each of those chapters and cycles, if we learn to look deep inside ourselves and fight for us. And the rest will follow. You gotta trust in the timing, because it only comes when we're truly, deeply ready. So, enough with the depths of this whole chapter of my life. I truly hope that this just even for a moment encourages people to take a step back out of your anger, out of your resentment, out of your own personal judgments, and set them aside. Because you really feel that way about that person because you felt that way about yourself. And that is the process you need to work through because true self-love is worth it.